moving on. Trump. Trump. Trump has been in office less than a month and a half, and everybody has been like, the right is loving it. The right is loving it. The left is just scared. Where is the Democrats' leadership right now? They don't have a voice. They don't have anybody that's out front besides Jasmine Crockett, and she's out here just doing her best sister girl routine. I don't like it, and I'll talk about that in another show one day. They got no leadership right now. Everything is reactionary, and Trump has always said that he thought that this Ukraine-Russian war, if he had been president instead of Joe Biden, that the war would have never took off. And I'm starting to think that he might be true about this. Now, Vladimir Zelensky came to the White House this week to ask, he came to speak to the president and the vice president and secretary of state to kind of update them on what's going on in Ukraine. And I think he was coming to ask for more money. And it seemed like the press conference was going pretty well until it just completely went awry. It went awry, and I honestly don't know. Was this staged? Because I had never seen presidents negotiate and talk like this in front of the press. Usually these conversations happen behind closed doors. But I kind of felt like watching this one, we kind of like the fly on the wall, and the cameras were on and they weren't supposed to be. And we got some rare footage that I think was pretty good for the American people. We finally got to see what happens when these leaders come to the White House and have to ask the president for support. We see these world leaders. All of them come over here. They come asking for money from the United States. They come asking us to inject in their wars. And this Trump-Zelensky one is very, very interesting. So I want y'all to take a look at this, and we're going to talk about this because it's very... So you got Trump, Zelensky, J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio are in the room. Here we go.
What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned with Putin. I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, him either.
This funny. Trump says, "Hey, I'm trying to make a deal. I'm in the middle of this, right? The United States is in the middle of this. This is not really our fight, but because Europe doesn't want the Ukraine just to completely go away and be obliterated, and they don't want Putin to rebuild the USSR. They don't want that Iron Curtain back up. They got the U.S. involved. And Trump is saying, listen, man, Zelensky doesn't like Putin. He says some harsh things about him. Putin doesn't like him either. And y'all want me to broker this deal when both sides don't really like each other, but y'all are not helping out. But y'all want our help to be in this, and I'm trying to help. But if you're not going to listen to me and you're not trying to negotiate, then what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Because if it's about giving you money and giving you resources, then this war is going to continue to go on, and the American people are not happy with this. They do not want their dollars going to overseas wars. They voted to stop that. This is why I'm the president again, because the American people voted to stop sending their money overseas for all these endless wars then you're going to have to give me something here, Zelensky. You're going to have to help me out.
So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
And it's funny. You've probably never heard a vice president actually speak at one of these things. This is the very first time. I don't think I heard Pence speak. I don't think we heard Kamala speak at these when the world leaders come, unless it's like the vice person. But we've never seen them standing toe to toe with the world leaders and actually engaging with the president there. This is like a new one. Pence didn't do this either. I don't think. Now, Joe Biden did it when he was vice president. He was brokering all of Barack's deals on Capitol Hill for him because he could go work bipartisan because he had been there for so long. So he could go talk to Mitch McConnell and get things done. But you don't normally see vice presidents out there. I mean, we didn't see nothing Dick Cheney did. Only thing we know is that he shot somebody in the ass. But we have never seen a vice president be this open. I don't know if he's doing this because he's trying to get more camera time and he's trying to show that he can be the leader of the party moving forward, or if Trump just said, "Hey, come and get in on this because it's going to get juicy." So keep watching.
Ask you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What?
So at that point, Zelensky's right. He like, listen, 2014, he came over here, he invaded Crimea, he occupied some land in Crimea. Nobody did nothing. The world sat there and watched him come occupy, Ukraine. And we know that the Ukraine split in the early 90s from the USSR, and that's what ultimately destroyed the entire Soviet Union when they took down the Iron Curtain. And so he said, y'all let this happen. Y'all let them come over here and take this stuff. 2019 comes around. We got France involved. We got these other world leaders involved. Y'all brokered this UN peace deal treaty that says, hey, okay, he's supposed to get out and we're going to do this and he's going to release prisoners and all this. And the man didn't do none of this. And then he kept come around 2021. He comes right back in, right after Trump's out of office, and invades again and takes more land. So in that regards, he's saying, what kind of diplomacy is that? I get that. I tried diplomacy with this guy. He don't want to do diplomacy. And y'all are telling me to bow down? No, I'm not doing that.
What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
Hold on, before we get into it, JD is about to go in. So this is the part where it just goes completely awry. I don't know if JD just decided that, okay, I'm just gonna take the cameras are rolling and I'm about to get some good sound bites because I've been ready to do this. I'm about to show the American people that I'm tough and I can take on these world leaders. But I think he's auditioning right now, y'all. I really think that JD Vance is auditioning.
Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems? Bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God
So Zelensky just said, hey, listen, y'all ain't got problems right now because y'all got this ocean in between y'all and Europe, but y'all about to have some problems. And they coming down, and Trump is like, the world don't want no smoke with the United States. Y'all don't want this smoke with us. Trust. That's what's about to happen.
bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the
the
cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
I'm
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think
gambling
about?
with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
I honestly don't think this part was supposed to be shown to the world, that you got world leaders just in there and you got Trump just berating this guy right now, telling him, you don't get to come to the United States and tell us what we gonna do. We telling you what's gonna happen. We telling you what's gonna happen. You don't get to come to the United States and tell us to do anything. And honestly, I feel bad for Zelensky in this point, because at this point, Trump is kind of right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a bad deal for the Ukrainians, because it's not like they are a big producer of anything of like export. They don't have like industry really. They got minerals, and this is what this really is about. This is about a mineral deal with the United States, and I believe that it's like, okay, we're not gonna keep supplying y'all with free weaponry and y'all just taking out these loans. I mean, Zelensky said it was a grant. Trump had said it was a loan. So now Trump is like, okay, it's time to negotiate. If you want our help, you need to broker this deal, and we need to broker our deal, and then we will help you, rebuild your country. But you're gonna have to provide us with these minerals and resources that we can utilize here in the United States. This is a barter system. The United States is an arms dealer. They want to, we got weapons. We can give them away, but we want people to pay for them. We don't just want to keep just giving away our weaponry for nothing, and y'all just keep coming back to the United States just asking for more and more and more and more. And this war, when it first started, the news and everybody made it seem like Russia could only go for maybe a month before it'd be over with. They don't have the infrastructure. Well, dang, it's been going on 4 years now, and it seems like it's not ending. Like, do y'all realize that? This war with Ukraine and Russia started right in the midst of COVID. And it's been going on for 4 years now. And the only thing that has happened is bloodshed. That is the only thing that's happened. The Ukrainians are no closer to winning this war than Russia is. And the only thing that's happening is that there's bloodshed on both sides. And nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see this continue to go on. You don't want to see people just almost get done to extinction. But if it keeps going like this, like, how long can these wars go on? Because the American people, we're paying for this. Every time our government spends money on weaponry and sending it overseas, guess what? Our tax dollars being spent on it. So let's keep watching.
You said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
So JD's mad that Zelensky went and campaigned for Kamala Harris. He's mad. He just told him that. You should be at this point, Vladimir. Vladimir, you should be happy that we're even entertaining you, because back in October you was out here on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris. You should be happy that President Trump is even entertaining you right now. That's what JD Vance is really telling them. You should be happy that we even allowed you to come to the White House. You should be happy that you are even in our presence after you went out and went stomped on the ground for the opposition, and now you sitting here with us saying, hey, can you help me? Houseway.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this.
I
You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and your
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
Yes. What about
if,
we are
if
speaking?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3
okay?
days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of
accept
times
that there,
thank you
accept
to
that,
American people.
accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful.
So Trump is telling him, I'm glad I let this go on. I want the American people to see this. You know why? Because we finally get to see what these world leaders are doing behind closed doors. And when they come over here to talk to the presidents, and we finding out that our money is going overseas. That's what this is. We're getting to see, we're getting a front row seat to see when world leaders come over and our presidents are basically making them kiss the ring. So I don't know what happened with Biden when Zelensky came over, but Trump is not happy about the fact that he got $350 billion of aid, and this war is no closer to being won than it was when Russia invaded it back in 2021. $350 billion of taxpayer dollars. That's how much money has been spent. That's how much money has been spent on this. So let's put that into perspective. So let's put that into perspective. What's going on here? So
You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running low
I
on
know.
soldiers. Listen,
Please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what,
that
what
wasn't with me.
means.
That was with a guy named Biden who was not a smart person.
He said, listen, we've been calling for a ceasefire, and Zelensky's like, look, man, we don't need no ceasefire, man. We've been trying to do it. He was like, listen, I don't know what Biden was doing. You worked with Biden, you were currying favor with him, and he basically has left you and your country in squalor, and Putin is not backing down. So I'm trying to make a deal for you, and you're telling me that this is not the case.
That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry, here.
It's going to be a tough deal to make, because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia, the 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing.
So Trump just said, you don't have the cards, man. In this moment, your country is struggling. You're losing men. You don't have an industry that you can trade to get things because your land is very barren. You don't produce anything of value to the United States. So us doing you this is just a favor of you're currying favor. And you come to the United States, you've broken these deals, and nothing has happened. Oh, by the way, they're supposed to be having elections in the Ukraine right now, but he stopped those because they're in war. So he's basically holding up their government. This whole region has been fighting against Russia since they stopped being a part of Russia. And they want to become their own free countries. Now, I don't know what deal Trump thinks he's brokered with Putin. Maybe he has brokered a deal. Maybe he has a ceasefire on the table that can work and keep the Ukrainians safe. I don't know. Maybe there is something there. Maybe Putin does recognize that Trump is is kind of out there and not like the other presidents, and he's not going to play coy and try to do the presidential stuff and, you know, try to do it with diplomacy and all that. Maybe he thinks that, hey, this dude might flip the switch. So I might want to kind of watch him. You know, this is a big chess game. We know that politics and foreign policy is chess. You know, they looking at the chessboard. Y'all watched Game of Thrones back in the day. If y'all don't, it was a great show. But you saw, you know, if you watch Game of Thrones, they would sit up there with their little board, and then they would kind of put positions on where their people were. You know, like, oh, we got people over here, they can come from this flank. You got people over there, they come from this flank. And we did the same thing in the Navy. We would have our little war games, and we would have the different our different positions and where we would strike from, and how we would approach. You know, if we were going to do something, you know, where we needed to be situated at. How the boat needed to be positioned in the ocean so we could take advantage of the Latin longs, so that way, you know, our equipment can work right. We get all that. And in this regard, Russia is in a position where they can really, really do some things to the Ukrainians, and Vladimir Zelensky is not in a position where he really can defend them. They're being supplanted by every single UN nation right now, and it's very, very telling that this keeps continuing to go on. And I for one will so love for something to happen, because we've never had a time in our world where there was peace everywhere. It is conflicts everywhere. You got the stuff going on in the Congo. You got stuff going on down in Colombia. You got stuff going. We got the battle with the cartels. The U.S. against the cartels going on. You got migrant crisis. You got trade deals going wrong. You got China and Taiwan over chips and whether Taiwan should be a part of Hong Kong. You got North Korea, you know, over in the corner, you know, still trying to test stuff. We have never had a time in this world where there was peace. And I don't know if we ever will have a time in this world where there was peace. But I think it's high time that we actually try to do something, so that way we're not always at war, and we can live amongst each other harmoniously. I know I'm asking for a utopian society, and I know for sure that is simply not the case. That cooler heads can never prevail. But I would so love to see it just try to happen. Just try to happen. I don't want to see more Ukrainians dying. I don't think nobody wants to see that. I don't think the Ukrainian Americans who live here, I don't think that they want to see their loved ones dying or getting bombed in Kyiv and all the other places over there in the Ukraine, simply because Putin continues to want to escalate stuff, and he keeps doing things to see how close he can get. Because Trump actually told Zelensky that you're close to starting World War III here. And nobody wants that. We don't want a World War III, because we already know that it's not going to be fought right. All these countries that are involved, heavily involved, all of them got nuclear weapons. And if we start launching nukes into the air, there will be no world. None of us will be here. None of us will be here. So hopefully Zelensky and Trump, they can work this out. I know that he went on Fox News after this was over with and said that he was hoping, he was optimistic that he can get a deal done with President Trump. But this is a cautionary tale to all world leaders, that I think that this is not going to go away when y'all come to the United States. I think it's going to be on camera, and American people are going to see it. This was must-see TV the other day, and everybody's talking about it. So we know how Trump is. We know the president. He loves the ratings. And I think these world leaders, this is what we're going to see. We're going to see these battles when these world leaders come to the United States trying to demand stuff, and when the cards are not in their favor, and we hold all the cards. Basically, Trump told this man that he had the big joker and the little joker. He had the big joker and the little joker, and he was about to run them out. He was about to pull all the spades out of the deck.